Well, I know he won't forgive me for saying this, but Emilio Estevez is so hot. Right now he's in St. Elmo's Fire, and of course we've seen you in a number of films recently, including Breakfast Club. Do you resent it if somebody tells you that you're hot? Are you aware that you're hot? Are you rolling with it at this point?
Well, you know, I'm really having a great time doing what I'm doing, and I am so fortunate to be able to enjoy what I do for a living, because there's so many of us out there that are stuck in these jobs and are like, you know, not enjoying it, not, you know.
Well, you were saying something earlier, too. I was really quite struck by your enthusiasm about this business.
Yes.
You're going for it wholeheartedly, no doubts in your mind that this is what you want to do?
None whatsoever.
When did you know that that was your course in life?
Well, I've always had a certain amount of direction in my life. I always knew that I wanted to be involved in show business. When I was 7 years, I wrote a short story on lined notebook paper in pen and sent it to Night Gallery it was a written submission. And you know, it was with the rejection slip. They never did
But the point is, it came from inside you.
It came from inside me, and I've had a certain amount of direction my whole life. No matter what I put my energy into, it's always ended up working out to its best advantage.
And apparently it's only just beginning in its own way. I guess there's a project you're very excited about coming up very soon.
Yes. It's a project called That Was Then, This Is Now, and it's based on the S.E. Hinton novel, and it's the fourth book of hers to be turned into a film. And it's just a wonderful film. I just saw it this past week, and it's a wonderful film. It's very intense. It's very dark. It's about people involved in situations that are completely out of control, and it's by far the best Hinton novel to film.
Which reminds us that we first saw you in Tex.
Right.
The association there seems so very right.
Well, I read the book while I was doing Tex. I read that was in This Is Now while I was doing Tex, and said, "My God, this has got to be turned into a film. It's a natural."
We are all noticing, to one degree or another, how natural you are on camera. It's an effortless style of acting. You said you're not afraid of the camera at all.
Not afraid of the camera, no.
Is it possible to be in this business and be nervous around the camera?
Sure, you see it all the time. You see an actor who's self-conscious, and you can tell when he's not doing honest work. You can tell when he's concentrating on hitting his mark instead of, you know, being honest and talking to the other person like two people talk. You know, I wouldn't talk to you any differently if there were another camera rolling here shooting this as if it were a scene.
Well, are you able to forget that it's there, or do you just invite it in like a stranger into your house?
You have to invite it in. It's your best friend while you're working. Your camera's your best friend, and you shake hands with it, and you know. And I'm not saying you mug it. You know, you don't do a whole number with it, but it has to be your friend.
All the time we've been watching you, Amelia, and listening to you right now, you've been moving. Your hands have been describing arcs in the air. This seems to be a part of your style, the physicality, the gestures of acting.
Yes.
Where does that come from? Is that just naturally you?
It's just instinctual. It's part of, you know, film is a visual medium. It's you know, you never hear people say, well, I heard a good movie. They saw a good movie. So and it's not something that I really concentrate on, but I just, body movement says more than words. So if you can put that into your film, if you can express the way you're feeling through a look or through movement other than words, then you're being economical and, you know, much better off for it.
At the same time, I feel that you would make a great villain.
Yes,
somewhere.
Well, I do play a villain in that film.
Yeah, there's maybe a depth there that hasn't been sounded out quite yet.
Yes. Well, in that film, I play a villainous character.
But even within the range that we've seen so far, it's always been so unpredictable. Repo Man still blows my mind every time we think about it. You were a marvelous sort of passive receiver of Harry Dean Stanton's trip.
Yes.
Was that a fun picture to make with him?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I read that script and said, my God, I must be in this film. I have got to be in this film. It's too, I mean, it read like a classic. It read like something that was phenomenal. So I said, yeah, this is something I want to be involved in. And working with Harry Dean, he's just so giving and just so wonderful. And he made it a very enjoyable experience, as did all the other actors in the film.
Take us through also another wonderful scene in Breakfast Club, that wonderful dance that you do. You said that that
Right.
was kind of your idea, extemporizing.
Right. John Hughes said, I think that the character needs to have a point in the film where he cuts loose, where he breaks out of the mold that has been created for him by his father and the coach. So he breaks out of this mold. So he gets high and does something, and I'm not sure what he's going to do. And so I said to John, well, let's try something. So I went up the stairway, the back stairway, up to the second level of the library where we were shooting, and took off all my clothes. I was clad only in my underwear.
He's not afraid of the camera.
Right, not at all. Now this is before we were shooting. This was during the rehearsal period. And I ran and danced and jumped and did all kinds of wild things in my underwear, screaming as I round and round and round. Well, John said it was a little extreme, and that the dancing was fine, but I should probably do it with my clothes on. So that's what we did. That's what it ended up being in the film.
I'm going to capture one of those hands flying through the air long enough to shake it and say,
Thank you.
congratulations, it's a
Thank you
career
very
that's been wonderful and it's only just now beginning.
Thank you, John.
Of course, right now, Emilio Estevez is one of the stars of St. Elmo's Fire. And from Los Angeles, for KCTV5, I'm John Tibbetts.